everyone, welcome to week 2 of our Guardian Backpack Sew Along. This week we'll be working on a few of the sections. The first section, creating the D-ring tabs. So that's this long strip. And then we'll be adding the hidden D-ring tabs and pockets to the side panels. And I'll be showing you how to add some mesh pockets to the inside along with that. And then we have prepping the grab handle, which we'll be doing. And lastly, making the interior slip pocket. And along with that, I'll be showing you how to add a zipper pocket to that same panel. So we have a lot to get to, a lot of different pieces to do to get to where we can finally assemble later on in the month. So the first thing we want to do is to create the D-ring tabs. And it's nice that we have it all in one strip, and we're going to cut this strip into 4. But it's really nice to do it all at one time rather than having to cut 4, prep 4, sew 4. I like it this way. So you have this strip like this. You'll fold in the middle to find the middle, and then you open it back up and take each side, fold it into that line, and then fold these together. So it should look like that at the end. Okay, you have your raw edges over on this side. So what we're going to do now is just sew down each side at 1/8 of an inch. And usually for this, I find a spot on my foot and I use that spot all the way down so that it stays nice and straight. You want to keep those edges even with each other so that it's not off later on. And then flip it over and do the same thing down the other side. Take this and cut it into 4. So I'll cut it in half first. If you've used vinyl or something for these, then don't do the double fold method. You'll want to do them half as wide and just fold over one time into the middle. So then you would have kind of a crease down the middle, but you'll be folding it over like this, so it won't be noticeable. So I'm just getting 4 equal D-rings here. D-ring tabs. And then I'll take my D-rings while I'm at it. And you can pick which side, and since mine are so different, I think I'll pick 2 of one and 2 of the other. And then I can put the matching ones, you know, on the top, and then the other matching ones on the bottom. Okay, so that's the green ones, and then we have kind of the blue ones. Quite a bit of hardware for this bag, but it makes it fun with all the extra bling, right? Okay, so we have 4 D-ring tabs. You can set 2 of those aside for now, and you'll want to grab your side panels. If you're not going to do your grab handle, you can actually skip this whole part, and you can skip to where we put the side pockets on. But if you're going to do the side handle, and I do recommend it, I actually really like the shoulder handle. I didn't think that I would use it, but I ended up actually using it quite a bit. So you want to make sure these are prepared. Make sure your Deco veil is applied to the back. If you have cotton, like quilting cotton or something, you'll have woven interfacing as well. I have vinyl here, so I think the Deco veil will be enough. And then I took an X-Acto knife, just a regular X-Acto knife, and cut this slit that is on the pattern piece And I just laid mine on top and cut through the paper on top. So that's how I did it. And another note, how to apply the Decovil to the vinyl. I have a Cricut mini press. It's about yay big. And so it can get around this without melting the vinyl. So if you're having trouble with that, I recommend the Cricut mini press for applying your Decovil. Okay, enough with all that. Let's get on to with it. Once you have prepared your side panel, we're going to be adding our D-ring tabs. So the first thing we'll do is stick our D-ring tab halfway through, and then we'll flip it over and sew just across the top. You don't want to catch this tab yet, just across the top there. So I'll go just about one stitch on either side, so I make sure to catch the tab. Alright. And then we flip it back over and we'll put our D-ring on. And then tuck this tab back down through there. And we'll pull it tight. Okay, then we'll flip it over, and as you pushed that through, you wanted that tab to go through so that it's here on the back side. And on the back, we want to sew through the tab and the two sides of the D-ring here. So we'll sew across right through here. I've gone ahead and switched to my zipper foot for this so I can get nice and close. And I think I'll go back over it too, just to make sure. And there we go. You have a nice D-ring tab. You'll want to go ahead and do this for the other side, obviously, and then you can also add a rivet right here, which looks really nice. So I will do that later. I'll add a rivet and then go ahead and complete your other side now. The next part that we want to do is to add our pockets. So I'll be adding both the written pockets and some mesh pockets. So let's go over the written pockets first. And I've deviated a little bit again because I wanted my exterior on the outside of the pocket and then this rainbow on the inside of the pocket. So I've actually cut 4 pieces here. If you've cut it as you're supposed to and done it as a long piece, you'll just fold it in half, wrong sides together, and then stitch across the top to make a nice edge. In my case, or if you've done like me, I added a seam allowance when I did this in the first place. So I added a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the top side. So I'm just going to sew these together at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then I'll show you how to do the next step. You can do like this too, cut it just as the pattern piece and then add a seam allowance at the top if you want, and then that's how you have a 2-sided pocket. We'll continue now with what the instructions say and make a line across the top. This just makes it look nice, makes it look finished. I went ahead and did 2 lines across. I just think it looks nice. And then we'll lay our pocket down onto our side panel. We match up our raw edges on the bottom here, and I'll clip that in place. And then for the top part, you see it's not quite evened out. That's what we want. We want to kind of angle it in and clip it here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, so kind of bubble it up here in the middle. We'll do this side. So you have a pocket here that kind of bubbles out. So we'll sew baste this on. And when you go up one side, you usually want to go up the other side so that there's no twisting. So this may look funny to go up on this side, but I don't want to have any twisting because one side pulls more than the other. It'll be nice and even that way. Okay, so go ahead and do the same thing for your other side panel. So you should have two side panels that look just like this. Now I wanted to show you how to do the mesh pockets while we're at it. I cut the netting with the bottom the same width as the side panel, and then for the top I added about 1 inch on each side so that we'll pull this in. And what we'll use is, this is fold over elastic. It's rainbow, how cool is that? So what we do is take our fold over elastic and fold it over the top of this netting, and I'll clip the one side and then stretch it all the way to the other side. And I cut this at the length of the bottom of the pocket, so it's the same length as this bottom here. Anyway, and then we'll stretch this. This is kind of a challenge, but we want to make sure to get that netting in there. And keep stretching and pinning. Alright, and now we'll top stitch this. Might be kind of challenging to top stitch, but we can do it. Tuck that in there. The challenge is starting it while it's stretched like that, so I'm going to try and get it started here. And then I'll pull this as I sew so that we catch that netting in there. I don't know if this is the right way to do it. This is the I made this up way. So if you have another way that works for you, then go for it, because this is the way that I made it up. And it works. Okay, so that brought our netting in to the length of the pocket. And these, of course, will go on our lining side. So we'll pin these on. You may want to cut your elastic just a little bit shorter so that it has a little bit more stretch to it. It does have some stretch, but when you sew through elastic, it tends to make it not as stretchy, so that's what happened here. If you cut the elastic a little bit shorter even than this, it'll pull in a little bit more, but I'm happy with that. It'll stretch out quite wide to fit a water bottle or whatever I need in there. So I'm going to go ahead and baste this on. So there is a mesh pocket. I know some of you asked for how to do that. This is how you do that. All right, we're gonna do one more piece today, and that is the interior. Well, let's do the grab handle first. So you'll want your 12-inch piece of webbing. With your webbing, you'll want to mark your center. So I'll find the center here. And then on each side of the center, we want to make 2 inches on each side. So we'll have a 4-inch area that we're working with. Okay, and we'll put some double-sided tape down. So here's the double-sided tape. So we have our double-sided tape in between those 2 marks, and we'll take off the peeling here. Sometimes it's a challenge. There we go. And then put your long edges in toward that marking. You may need 2 pieces of double-sided tape if it's not quite wide enough. So you'll put your long edges into the center, and then we'll be sewing along in between those 2 markings. So 1 on each edge. So we've just sewn down each side. This will be covered up, so it's not pertinent if it looks good or not. Okay, so then we'll take our grab handle accent and draw a line 3/4 of an inch in from each long edge. So now we have our 2 markings, 3/4 in, 3/4 of an inch in from each long edge, and then I've put double-sided tape on each long edge. We'll take our webbing that we prepared and lay it down in between the markings that we made. You should have your seam up here, and then we'll take our bottom of our handle and fold it up, and then we'll fold the top down. So there should be a little bit of a gap from the raw edge to the side here, and we'll secure this in place with 2 rows of stitching 1/4 inch apart in the center of the strap. So we'll put one about here and then on the other side. This does get pretty thick, so make sure you go slowly and carefully. And we can do it at a longer stitch length too. We'll go 1 more in from there. Okay. And my machine didn't do the greatest with that, so I'll have to go back over it. It didn't catch, so I might have to figure out how to make it less thick there. I'll probably just go over it again and see if I can catch it. It caught a few times, but I might need to just roll the wheel and see if I can catch it there. But it was too thick for me in that, but I will try and fix it later. So then the last part of this is to draw a line 1 inch in from each edge here. So I'll draw a line 1 inch in from each short edge. There we go. And I did it on the back just because I'm not sure if I can get this marker out, and my chalk pencil wasn't working very well. All right, the last part that we want to do is our interior slip pocket. So grab your slip pocket piece. Here's our waterproof canvas back that we'll be putting our pockets on. So it already has, this back will already have a slip pocket on it, and that slip pocket will be 1.5 inches up from the bottom. So it'll end about right here. So let's go ahead and put a zipper pocket in right above it. I always love bags with lots of pockets. This bag has lots of pockets to begin with, but I'll show you just how to add a couple more, and you can pick and choose what you like to do. If you don't want to add this pocket, just skip right over this part. So what I've done is I cut another pocket the exact same size as what the slip pocket is, but instead of making it a slip pocket, we'll make it a zipper pocket. So I've also cut my zipper tape the length of this pocket, and we'll put it on right side of the fabric to wrong side of the zipper tape, and I'll just do this at 1/4 inch seam allowance. I know this seems weird to do it with the wrong side of the zipper, but it'll work out. And then we'll take the other side of the zipper, the wrong side, to the other side up there. I suppose I didn't have to put my zipper pull on yet, but I didn't want to forget either. You can also use a number 3 zipper for this. A number 10 or 10-inch one would have worked pretty well. So this is what our zipper pocket will look like. You can see that this part will poke through the hole, and then when we open up the zipper, we'll have a zipper pocket. So let's make that happen. I'm going to make a zipper box a little bit shorter than what this is. So let's see how long this is. This is 10 inches. So let's make, about a 8.5 inch zipper box here. I got this fancy thing from Mormino, so I'm gonna give it a try. I haven't used it yet, and I'd like to. So I'm going to center this down, and we'll go in about 3/4 of an inch. Mine is 10 inches long here, so I don't want to leave too much space. There we go. All right. And since this is waterproof canvas, we can just go ahead and cut our zipper box here. So to do that, cut down the middle, and then 1/2 inch from each end, we'll make little V's. And the other side. Alright, and then we'll fold these back. like to use double-sided tape here to hold this in place and keep those edges tucked away. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to add some double-sided tape to each of the sides, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I've put back the edges of my waterproof canvas, and then I put more double-sided tape on, and I stuck my zipper in here. Make sure your pull is going to the left. And right now we're just going to sew right across the top with the pocket down like this. We'll do the other 3 edges in just a second. And then we'll flip our pocket up and do the bottom. We can do the other 2 edges now. Okay, so we got all 4 edges. I'll clean up my threads in a minute. But you can open this up and you have a pocket in there. So now you'll just want to make sure to seal up your edges of your pocket here. So we'll pull this waterproof canvas out of the way and just sew the edges of my pocket. If you forget to do that, your things will just fall out the side. If you've done a number 3 zipper there and it has those zipper ends, be really careful here so that you don't catch those with your needle. Those are needle pullers. But with the nylon number 5, that's something you don't have to worry about. Alright, there we go. Now, we'll just take our pocket here and we'll put this wrong sides together. And we'll be sewing the 3 edges that need sewn, but we'll leave a 3-inch turning hole at the bottom. So usually how I do that is just start on the bottom, in the middle. You'll notice that I backstitched when I started on that side, because when you pull it through, a lot of times it tugs on that seam quite a bit. So I usually backstitch so that it doesn't rip the seam. And now I like to trim the corners. So we'll trim here and then this corner, and then I also trim the top ones. Okay, and then we'll just flip it through. Make sure you press out your corners really well. That's what's going to make it look nice here, because we'll just be top stitching this on. Isn't this fabric pretty? I love all the colors. So much fun. Okay, and with those trimmed corners, you should be able to get them fairly crisp. So we'll lay this down and tuck in that part there that we left open, and I like to clip this Give it a good finger press. We want to make sure to catch those when we top stitch our pocket on. Okay, and now we'll just top stitch what will be the top of our pocket, same as we did those outer pockets a few minutes ago. And I'll do 2 lines here as well. Grab your pocket that we've already worked on here and lay this on. Make sure that the pocket, that if you put in this pocket, that you've flipped it up out of the way. And I'm going to put a couple clips on here. Make sure it's out of the way. Now we'll lay our interior slip pocket down on top of the main liner. We'll center it horizontally here, and then we'll put it up 1.5 inches from the bottom. So that will be about right there. Okay, and we'll sew around all 3 sides. So I do like to go back on the top here, and it also is a good idea to use rivets. So that's why our hardware pack includes 6 rivets, so you can do 2 on the outside, and then you can do 1, 2, 3, 4 here on your pocket if you have both pen pockets, and then your edges as well. Do the pen pocket, and you'll go in 1 3/4 inches from the side. Pen pocket and our regular pocket. You can do one more pen pocket if you want by measuring in 1 3/4 inches over. I don't use pens very often, so I'm just going to leave it at 1. So for this week, you'll want to post your completed interior pocket with at least this slip pocket. You don't have to have the zipper pocket. Your handle and your 2 completed side panels. I know I haven't done this one yet, but I did do the other one. If you did the mesh pockets, you can post that, and your completed exterior panels. So lots of pieces we got done this week. Great job. We'll get on to more sewing next week. Bye, everyone.